What's up? So I was watching Boruto the other day, and Boruto's dad decided to have a business meeting with some of his other Kage friends. And in the meeting, well, first of all, I actually thought that they were going to be doing chapter 700 in the anime because the atmosphere, the setting, is very similar to that of chapter 700, the final chapter of the Naruto manga. You got Boruto trying to paint on Naruto's face, just like he did back in chapter 700. You have the Kage Summit being held in Konoha, and you also have Sakura, wearing this cleaning outfit because she's relocating to a new house because she completely broke her previous one. She completely destroyed it in Gaiden. So even though it's the same type of atmosphere from chapter 700, it's not the same content. It's very similar, but it's not the same. Now, what I liked about the Kage Summit scene in the anime is that eventually it just turns into a scene in which the Kages just straight up start complaining about Boruto's generation, about the new generation not being up to par. Like, they don't say it like this, but essentially what they're saying is the new generation just straight up sucks. And it's like, wow. See, that's when you know that the fan complaints about Boruto as a series have reached the higher ups. When you have characters just blatantly addressing issues that are prevalent in the fandom, that's when you know your message has been heard. And it's funny because this happened with One Piece yesterday, where Oda deliberately drew a panel of Goldie Roger, the king of the pirates, saying, "Do not be impatient. Like, I got you. Every character will have their time to shine," because people have been complaining about a character not getting their time. And here in Boruto, it's like, yeah, man, we got to talk about this new generation problem. Kurotsuchi says they're not up to par. Their skills, their powers are not up to par. And then later, I think it's Darui or Chojiro who said, the problem is that there's no conflict, which is exactly like one of the points that I've been trying to make over and over again. What is Boruto's struggle as a character? What is his struggle? Because the truth of the matter is that the struggles that you can name that Boruto has had up until this point are pretty superficial when you compare them to the struggles that Naruto had to face when he was the same age. And again, the Kages bring this up when they say that conflict is essential in order to make sure that the future generations thrive and survive. Because, if you don't struggle, how can you get stronger? There's a scene where Sarada uses her One Tomoe Sharingan to copy Boruto's Shadow Clone Jutsu, and then after that, she uses the Shadow Clone Jutsu technique that she copied in a training match with Chocho. And she's up on this tree branch or whatever, and then after she uses the Sharingan, she just feels kind of dizzy. She's like, oh man, the One Tomoe Sharingan completely drained her, right? So she loses her footing and she falls out of the tree. And then Konohamaru just comes in and just catches her. Why couldn't Konohamaru just let her fall? All right? Why? It's like, number one, you're an anime character, so you're not going to die falling out of a tree. And number two, you need to know the consequences so that you're better prepared to handle the Sharingan draining you of your stamina so that you don't let that happen in battle. And for some reason, I had completely forgotten that Konohamaru also wants to be Hokage. So, he's going to be the 8th. Sarada can be the 9th Hokage, and Boruto can be her shadow protector. And then Konohamaru says, from now on, Sarada, we're rivals. And I'm like, that's good to hear. Can you start by not catching her when she falls from trees, please? Is it because she's a female that you feel the need to rescue her automatically whenever she falls out of a tree? No, I'm kidding. Then again, in this episode, Sarada was ready to kill Boruto by cutting his rope. Just let him fall. Now, in Sarada's defense, I will say that the maternity test struggle that she had during Gaiden, to me, was a lot more impactful and a lot more intriguing than, again, Boruto's struggle or the struggles that Boruto has had up until this point in the story. But anyway, going back to the Kage Summit, Naruto and Gaara, who are, of course, fan favorites, they're the ones who actually offer a response to the other Kage's criticism about the new generation. Basically, Gaara says, give me one generation that doesn't think that the next generation is worse than they are. That's usually the way it works. Case in point, just look at a lot of the comments that come from the generation that came before us. They probably sound something like, you millennials are ruining everything! Why are you so lazy? Why can't you get a job? Gee, I don't know. Maybe it's because you caused the recession to happen a couple of years back when you wanted to buy a house that you couldn't afford. So the housing bubble burst. But anyway, Boruto's dad agrees with Gaara's sentiment. He says, Gaara, you're right. The new generation, they're new. they're barely getting their start. They're like little buds, little seeds, little baby seeds that are barely getting ready to bloom. Let's be patient and give them time. So it's just full-on damage control mode when it comes to Gaara and Boruto's dad. I called you here today because we need to keep selling this show to kids. How do we do that? Let's brainstorm. Let's try and do some damage control. Let's try and make fans happy. Now, to be fair, Boruto does end up saving the Kages in their fight against Momoshiki in Boruto the movie, which is coming up, in terms of the anime's timeline. So I don't think it's a good idea to underestimate the next generation, but I do think that some of the criticisms that were talked about in the Kage Summit were merited and, were there for a reason. I have a couple of comments from Mitsuki saying that Boruto and Sarada make a nice couple, and I'm like, at this point, like, this whole thing just feels forced, because it's like, well, no, duh. I mean, to me, it's obvious. If they end up together, it's kind of obvious at this point, because, back in Naruto, we had, like, 4 people involved. It was Naruto, Hinata, Sasuke, and Sakura. Here, it's just, like, it's them two, essentially. Like, who are they competing against? There's no drama. There's no tension between, like, any possible pairings. Now, the most important part of the episode, at least from a story standpoint, is basically the discussion about there being a bigger threat to come than Kaguya. And this is something that I've said before. Both the Boruto anime and the Boruto manga are trying to do the same thing. In fact, we have literally a quote from Naruto in this episode saying, "There's something bigger than Kaguya that's coming for us." And in the Boruto manga, Sasuke has a line that is pretty much the same thing. It's like, there's a bigger threat out there. And this is where things get kind of confusing. So we know that the reason for why Kaguya was building up her Setsu army was because she wanted to defend against the threat that would eventually come for her that would be more powerful than herself. We knew that, okay? What we don't know, and I think this is a very valid concern, is who is the main threat of the Boruto story? Are we to believe that it's Momoshiki or somebody related to the Otsutsuki lineage? Okay? And that's the main threat that we're talking about here? Or is it the Kata organization that was recently introduced in the manga? We don't know at this point. We know for a fact that the Kata organization has pretty much no relation, at least from what we know, no relation to Momoshiki or anything, because in the chapter, the benevolent elder, the elder said, yeah, that Momoshiki guy just messed everything up for us. Also, from what we learned in the newest chapter, Kata seems to be an organization that depends on financial resources. I mean, in the beginning, they were complaining that the vessel was lost, and the girl was saying, like, man, that cost us a lot of money. Like, we literally had to buy out a country in order for that to come to fruition. So, first of all, I think it's obvious that the vessel that they're talking about is a person. In fact, it's actually confirmed by the end of the chapter when Konohamaru goes into the blimp and sees that the coffin or the Tupperware, the container is empty, and then we see like a foot. So I think that person is definitely the vessel. It could be Kawaki. We don't know at this point, but we also know that the country that they sort of bought, or that they sort of like just gave money to produce this vessel, was not the fire country. It was not the land of fire, because they said that the vessel got lost in transportation. So it's kind of like it must have come from someplace else. All right. By the end, Koji even says like, "Oh, the fire country. Yeah, Konoha. It's destiny that I might end up going there." Apparently, also Kata has like different sectors. People that are in charge of different sectors, and they have outsiders and insiders. It's a very, very confusing, very cryptic scene. I don't think it was handled well personally. I think we needed more information, because like when you read the chapter, it's like you're guessing too much. And so even though it's important to give the audience cliffhangers and mysteries so that they can try and think about them and get hooked and intrigued by the story so that they, just look forward to a new chapter, it's also very important to offer them clarity, because if you don't have that, then it just gets way too confusing. So I'm going to tell you where I think this leads to, but before I do that, I'm just going to make a comment about something that I noticed, because I reread the chapter this morning and I saw that each of the Kata members has a Roman numeral assigned to them. It's on their face somewhere. I think Jigen has a number 4. The elder that was killed had a number 5. The girl has a number 1, and a guy with a mustache there has a number 3. I'm assuming Koji, the guy with the mask, is number 2, since we don't really get to see his face, and the elder mentioned another character by the name of Amado, so pretty sure he has to have another number as well. And the elder at some point is going to have to be replaced, since he's already dead. So here's what I'm speculating. Jigen said in the manga that it is of the utmost importance to get the vessel back, because the vessel is the key
for Kata to achieve their goal, for their wish to come true, for their dreams to come to fruition, right? And then Naruto in the episode says that pretty much every single threat that has been introduced in the series post Shippuden, so after Shippuden, every single thing that has caused us problems has had one thing in common. All right, the Nue had it in common. Shin Uchiha had this in common. Sasuke's investigation about Kaguya led to the exact same thing, and that, according to Naruto, is the existence and the description of a parallel dimension. So in my opinion, what Kata is trying to do, even though they're not related to the Otsutsuki clan or whatever, I think the key, the vessel, all right, is their way of trying to open that parallel dimension. I don't know what's hiding in it or what they're trying to unleash from it upon the Shinobi world, but we know it's super powerful, more powerful than Kaguya. And they probably need a couple of members to have these numbers so that they can perform the ritual alongside the vessel so that they can open up that dimension. And so now this makes the opening of the series a little bit more sensible in regards to Kawaki saying that Naruto has indeed been defeated.
Also, apparently Naruto can use Earth Style. He just brought up a wall when he was fighting against Boruto in that training match, and now he's okay with using ninja tools, ninja techniques developed by that scientist in Boruto the movie. He's back, and he's like, he gave him a fake arm that allows him to absorb jutsu just like Momoshiki, but he can't shoot it back, so he just can absorb it, which that's cool, I guess. But yeah, other than that, I think that's essentially what happened. And again, I think if this were a weekly thing, wow, okay, it'd be great, but it's a month, and it's like I have to wait a month to see what happens with Kata and this new organization and this arm. It's like, okay, it's a little bit less exciting. I just have to say that. I have to be honest with you guys. I think you guys deserve it. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you did. I tried to make this video as entertaining as possible for you guys, and let me know your thoughts down below about the anime and the manga and their direction. Catch you guys later. Bye.